hustle on a mission. Grinding for that spot, a brand new pot to piss in. Trying to school my partners, I don't think they pay attention. I'm sticking to my vision, on the road to the riches. Every single day, I'm a hustle on a mission. Trying to get 100 M's, nigga, I ain't kidding. I'm on a mission, 24/7, 365, until I reach the heavens.
Check, check. Check, check. I mean, that work too. Yo. Check, check. Okay. Okay. What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome back to the Lit House. Welcome back to the Lit House. Keep the light within you shining bright. You feel me? And welcome to Home Inc. TV. Hustlers on a mission every day. Sponsored by DividendsApparel.com. Whatever you do, make sure you do it capital and create a positive impact today and later. Fuck the motherfucking haters. Get your paper straight like that. And yeah, I think that nigga was right. Anyway, we're finna get into this reaction right here with Flacco himself. On the Nolan Wells case, and it's a little Nolan Wells debate here that Stephen A. Smith decided to host, because we all know Nolan was a college football player. All right.
You're such a liar and a fraud. Nobody have ever said that. Why are you, these people, bro? And this is why when you deal with people like Tatum, I hate when y'all go into these discussions with good faith, because these people deal with bad faith. when you're debating with somebody like Tatum, you have to be as bad faith as him. But Tatum was brought on Stephen A. Smith's show to debate a federal prosecutor on this Nolan Wall situation. Now, this entire debate, if you want to call it that, is just Tatum being disingenuous and bad faith and disrespecting Nolan Wall's family. I think any accusation of being bad faith and being race hustlers in a situation where a mother is trying to get justice for her son is disrespect. Straight up. You're disrespecting a mother who wants justice for her son. So here's the debate. We're going to go through it. Let's
Welcome to the latest edition, the special edition of Straight Shooter. As always, I appreciate the love and support that y'all have been giving me. Thanks so much, all the love and support. Just continue to support Shooter. Just go to Stephen A. Smith, Shooter, and obviously you'll be the member of the Shooter family. A lot of stuff to get into, no doubt. We're going to have another panel today. It's going to be my fourth panel, and it's the case of Nolan, the college football player out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, who died. Body was found July 6th, 2 days after going away with some friends on July 4th. A lot of people are talking about this story because, according to the reports, he was a black dude and he was the only black dude with a few white dudes, and they all came back alive and he didn't. Clearly, since that time, we've learned via reporting on the part of some people, via an autopsy report and other things, that there are some conflicting facts that need to be brought to light. And I think that it's time to have a discussion about this from the vantage point of two completely different sides. One is a conservative, one is a liberal, one's a former police officer, one is a civil rights attorney and a legal mind. It's a lot to get into, make no mistake about it. It's going to be Officer Tatum on the right. It's going to be Charles F. Coleman Jr.
Bro, I don't like that too, right? I said former police officer. Listen, bro, Tatum is a YouTuber. Call it that. Right? And then you didn't say, yo, this dude that who Tatum is debating, by the way, just so you guys know, this is a former federal prosecutor. This is a person who just a few years ago was investigating and building cases like this. This is somebody with immeasurable experience in something like this. Tatum has no right. Tatum has no credibility. Tatum, yo, listen, man. Tatum has no business debating somebody like this on his Nolan Wells case. It's really that simple. But Stephen A. Smith introduced Tatum, right? He juiced up his credentials a little bit, right? Wasn't Tatum an officer for 6 months or some nonsense like that? I'm not sure, right? So you juiced up Tatum's credentials, but you made sure to kind of undersell the brother's credential who he's debating. He's debating a former federal prosecutor. That's who he's debating on this situation. Straight up.
And there's clearly a lot of things to get into, conflicting accounts. One friend claimed Wells chose to stay behind to talk to a girl. Wells' family strongly disputes this, stating they raised him to never separate from his group. There's a
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Damn, 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 damn. Man, you gonna get out my room? Fuck is your problem? I'm gonna beat your ass. You tripping. Fuck wrong with you, bro? You tripping. Greedy ass nigga think he finna get some more french fries. I ain't even get no french fries. And I shouldn't have gave him none of those. All right. We're back. Man, yeah. I'm gonna fuck around and put my little brother picture out there in a little while, man. I wanna find my little brother. My daddy swear I ain't got one. But I seen the picture and I got the picture of him. Nigga crazy as fuck. He think I ain't got it. I just found it. I thought I lost it.
It's a boat issue. Phone records and dispatch audio indicate the friend's boat suffered a mechanical failure around 4 p.m. as they left the island. When calling for a tow, the operator stated everyone on board was in good health. There's also the issue of Nolan Wells' body being found after being reported missing by his mother near midnight. A multi-agency search was launched.
Right.
A National Park Service ranger found Wells' body floating face down on the northwestern tip of Horn Island on July 6th. Again, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump is representing the family, and Officer Tatum, as in Brandon Tatum, traveled to Mississippi, interviewed one of the boys involved in the case, but according to him, he probably interviewed several folks in attendance that July 4th day. So there's a lot of stuff to get into, and without further ado, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I know very little about this case other than what I've read and what I've seen on television. I've heard the reports in.
So why are you moderating a discussion on it? Pause. Oh my God, I thought it was bad. Then why are you moderating a discussion on it if you know nothing about this case? Yo, bro, we live in the Matrix, homie. If you know nothing about this case, if you know very little about this case, then why are you moderating a discussion on it? How does that make sense? I'm so confused.
Right. So rather than speculate any longer, let's get to the bottom of it to the best that we can at this particular moment in time.
My boy Flacco said he should have been moderating this. He said he should have been in the debate and moderating.
Came out to you banned, bro.
At least there's a lot to get into. So without further ado,
I gave you a chance yesterday, and now you banned.
Get your ears perked up.
You banned, came out to
get your thought process circulating and percolating. It's time to get into it right now. My first guest is a civil rights attorney, a former federal prosecutor, and an MS Now legal analyst. He writes the What Matters Now newsletter on Beehive, and you can catch him on his podcast, The Brothers Briefing.
What's up with y'all?
He is joined by a former Arizona police officer turned conservative YouTube political commentator and host of the Officer Tatum podcast. Please welcome to the show, Charles F. Coleman Jr.
No spamming, guys. No spamming.
Brandon Tatum. Good afternoon, fellas. How y'all doing? How's everything?
Bliss.
I'm doing well, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Charles Coleman Jr., let's start off with you. What can you tell us? The Nolan Wells case has been in the news for nearly 3 weeks now. For those who may not be aware of the case or have not kept up with the facts, just to recap, he was an 18-year-old college football player from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. On July 4th, he and a group of friends traveled by private boat to Horn Island, an uninhabited barrier island off the Mississippi coast. Wells was the only black person on the boat. Wells was last seen on the island around 3 p.m. His friends returned to the mainland without him, and as a result, ultimately, a couple of days later, he was found dead. Charles Coleman Jr., at this particular juncture, what's on your mind in terms of this case? What's missing? What are your thoughts?
Stephen A., we just saw the family release their independent autopsy results yesterday, which were conducted by Dr. Roger Mitchell, who is the president of the National Medical Association. And those results were inconclusive. They were able to establish that Nolan Wells did not die by accident, that he did not die of natural causes, but at the same time that they were not able to establish that this was a homicide. In fact, those results established that it was not a homicide. Now, one important caveat to note is that the chief medical officer from the state of Mississippi, the sheriff's office, removed the throat from Nolan Wells's autopsy when their autopsy was conducted first. We have not heard the results of the state's autopsy, but we know that when Roger Mitchell examined the body for the family, that the throat and other organs have been removed. So that your listeners understand, that's not abnormal. That is something that takes place normally during the case of an investigation and of an autopsy. So there's nothing that was wrong there. But at this point, Dr. Roger Mitchell, who did the independent autopsy from the family, has not been able to confirm any sense of foul play as of yet. That was undecided or undecisive. That does not mean that foul play may not have occurred. It just means that the autopsy that was conducted by the family did not show that conclusively. He saw some potential trauma to Nolan Wells's head. That was not something that he was able to explain as being the result of foul play. And we have yet to hear the state's autopsy and what they found and what their findings were. You may recall, and listeners may recall, that initially the sheriff's office said that they had no reason to suspect that foul play was afoot. And what I would say that this autopsy confirms from the family is that while that cannot be certainly confirmed, it still can't be ruled out. So finally, there are 60 witnesses that have been interviewed in the course of this investigation by the sheriff's office. There's likely going to be a presentation to the grand jury, and we don't know what the toxicology report will show from Nolan Wells because much of that is in the hands of the state. But
don't expect nothing from that grand jury, by the way. Don't expect a thing from that grand jury, because how they presented that grand jury, they try to make it seem like, the DA was going out of her way to bring it to the grand jury. Come to find out, the grand jury thing is just a routine thing, right? For any death where the cause is unknown, they investigate, they put the facts together, and then they present it to the grand jury. But if you present something to the grand jury that's slighted in the direction of no foul play, the grand jury doesn't do anything about it. So do not expect anything from that grand jury. Don't expect a thing from that grand jury at all. And then also too, now I'll be real, this brother here, like he said, Stephen A. Smith may have given us an interview with two tap dancers, to be honest, bro. He may have given us an interview with two tap dancers. Stephen A. Smith may have pulled off a slick one, right? He may have pulled off a slick one because the brother says he doesn't see any problem with them taking out the throat. Cool. But then why didn't the throat get packed up with the other organs that y'all put and sent it over to the independent autopsy? Y'all did your autopsy because the family allowed y'all to do your autopsy first. So once y'all did your autopsy, the independent autopsy needed like Nolan's throat, his lungs, et cetera, to determine his cause of death. Was his lungs waterlogged? Because if it was waterlogged, then he drowned. If it was not waterlogged, then he did not drown. He was murdered before he hit the water. But an independent autopsy who needed the lungs and the throat to determine the cause of death, he couldn't get that. Because they kept it. So why would this brother say, who is supposed to be on the side of no? Why would this brother say there's nothing wrong with that? So I don't know, bro. This brother sounds like a tap dancer too, to be honest.
I want to know what the state's autopsy is going to say and what are the witness accounts that they are going to put forward in the grand jury.
Officer Tatum, you traveled to Mississippi, from my understanding, to personally interview one of the young men who left the island without Nolan. Why should the public trust whatever account is coming from them right now, in your estimation, based on what you've learned? First things first, I shouldn't say that. First things first, what did you deduce from the conversation you had from one of the friends that was with Nolan Wells? What did you take away from that you'd like the public to know?
Stephen A., I want to make sure this is clear. I actually spoke to all the boys that were being accused. I spoke to family members. I spoke to also their attorneys. It's just that the one young man had the, I wouldn't say courage, because others had reasons why they didn't want to come on the camera, but he was able to come on the camera, and I interviewed him. And I also interviewed another young man who was Black, who was there, who had his own personal accounts of what happened. I'm not asking people to believe or not believe. I just wanted to give people the information. So nobody.
Bro, that's a lie. Tatum, that's a lie, bro. Your entire interview was slanted in one direction. If you were somebody who was not trying to do an interview to convince anybody of anything, you wouldn't do an interview and ask slanted questions, bro. You literally asked, what do you think of them bringing Benjamin Crump and making this a race issue? If you were somebody who was, again, you could have asked that question. Oh, what do you think of the work that Benjamin Crump has been doing for Nolan Wells' family? But every question you asked was slanted in the direction of they are race hustling, they're grifting, nothing bad happened here. All right, these people are just doing this for money. That was your narrative, and you pushed it during those interviews, bro. So now you're trying to race hustle and grift as this neutral arbitrator of justice, and you're not. Cut it out.
Nobody had heard from the young boys. Nobody had heard their accounts, and a lot of misinformation was put out there. Some intentionally, some maybe not intentionally, but it was very detrimental.
His life was more than Oka Ruckus.
So the investigation into Nolan Wells' death was punitive. They came out and started with race. It had to be something nefarious because these boys are white for any other reason. So I wanted to go out and hear the full story. And what I deduced from the interview and talking to everybody is that these young boys had nothing to do with what ended up happening to Nolan Wells. And also they were best friends. These kids had so many pictures, so many text messages of them.
Man, stop it, bro. Bro, all these kids came out and said, they were Nolan Wells' best friend, right?
How the fuck does he know? Like, how the fuck does he know? If you was an officer, as you supposedly say, do you know majority, 90% of motherfuckers involved in crime is lying? So how the fuck you know? Bitch. He's compromised. He's compromised. He's an agent, and he's paid off. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if I looked at his demographic of fans, because I never heard about this motherfucker till now in the first place.
They all came out. First off, every single one of them says Nolan Wells was my best friend. I can't speak on his relationship with other people, but he was my best friend. You know, all the friends that came out and said Nolan Wells was their best friend, the follow-up question was, have you met Nolan Wells' mama? And they all said no. These people claimed they was Nolan Wells' friend or best friend. Again, they all said best friend, by the way. Now, I don't know how many best friends somebody can have, but they all said Nolan Wells was their best friend. And they said, yo, we've been best friends since like middle school. They've been best friends with Nolan Wells since middle school and never met his mama. Never been to his house. Come on, bro. Yo, what are we talking about here, bro?
So many pictures, so many text messages of them being closer to Nolan than any other friend group. And also one thing that shocked me was that this was an island, not secluded, not an island with 5 or 6 people on it. It was an island where there was thousands.
Why would that have shocked you? I'm so confused. Like, what type of nonsense are we talking about?
Hundreds of boats. And also,
yeah, it was July 4th celebration. Nobody thought the island was a secluded island. What are you talking about?
So a lot of people could verify the statements that was made from some of these young men. So I really wish.
No, but the people who could verify the statements was Katie. And Katie literally gave a contradictory statement. Like the statement you heard, Warren told you, yo, we called for Nolan in front of Katie. And then Katie says, oh yeah, I heard them calling for Nolan, but that was the last time I seen Nolan was when they called him over. So Warren is claiming, yo, we was calling for Nolan in front of Katie, but he stayed with Katie. Katie said he didn't stay with me. He went with his friends. Man, bro, y'all got to stop this, bro.
We could have started at a point to say, what happened to Nolan Wells? Let's work together as a community. Let's talk to these young men, talk to other people, and let's find out what happened to Nolan instead of jumping the race.
That's literally what the family did. The family literally said, hey, what happened to Nolan? The father went over to grab Nolan keys. The friends was in a deep sleep, woke him up, acting like the father was bothering him or something. Said, I don't know where them keys at. I don't know. Bro, it took one call for a girl to say, bro, the person who told you he don't got Nolan car keys, the keys is on his Xbox. All right? Again, Nolan Wells' mama and daddy have came out and says, yo, this is not about race, but we'll be remiss if we ignore the signs. So everybody has said it's not about race that's speaking for Nolan, but yet Tatum has decided that he's going to wage war against the very family who have said it's not about race. Now listen, man, Poetic Flacco, I don't speak for the family. None of the content creators speak for the family. Benjamin Crump and Nolan Wells, the parents speak for Nolan Wells. They said it's not about race, but we can't ignore the dynamics here that's at play. So what are you talking about?
Officer Tatum, how do you know that it was misinformation that was put out there? How did you come to the conclusion that something was misinformation? Explain that. Is it just according to their account or something else?
No, initially I knew it was hogwash because when Al Sharpton and them got on TV, they automatically made an inference to say it was something that had to happen because these kids were white. It was white kids with one black boy. There's no evidence.
You're such a liar. You're such a fraud, Tatum. Nobody ever came out and said this must happen because they're white. That's not even a logical statement. This must have happened because they're white. Nobody ever said that ever. Find me a statement. Find me that. Tatum, listen, man. Find me that statement, Tatum, and I'll retire as a content creator. Find me the statement where Benjamin Crump or Al Sharpton says this must have happened because the people were white. Are you dumb? You're such a liar and a fraud. Nobody have ever said that.
That's
why
that
you,
shit
yo,
that bitches
people,
do.
bro, and this is why when you deal with people like Tatum, I hate when y'all go into these discussions with good faith because these people deal with bad faith. When you're debating with somebody like Tatum, you have to be as bad faith as him. He's a liar.
Black boy.
Nobody ever said that.
There's no evidence to project that unless you believe every white person is nefarious.
Nobody has ever said you just made it up, bro. Yo, how are you compiling on a lie that you made up
in their dealings with black people? And so I thought that was suspicious on his face. And then they said that Nolan was the only black kid. He was not the only black kid. Many of his black friends were also at the island with him. So some of those things that started to come out, I knew that they were not.
Nobody ever said that Nolan Wells was the only black kid on the entire island. What we said was, it looks like from his friend group, Nolan Wells was the only black kid. And did we lie? Did we lie when we say Nolan Wells was the only black kid in his friend group? Did we lie? Javon was not part of that friend group. They told Javon he got to catch the other boat. Come on. Come on now, bro. All right, come on, bro. The Uncle Ruckus, who did an interview to be Nolan Wells' other black friend, he sat down with Tatum, and that man says, my black side ain't never been here for me, man. These good white folks have been the only family I've known. Okay, cool. That man was speaking in a southern twang I ain't never heard on a black person. Listen, we know some deep down south black folks. He was speaking in a twang we ain't never heard from black folks in life. So the only quote unquote half or biracial black person identifies as white. And then that person says, outside of me and Nolan, who was, I guess, the only people mixed with black, we had a Mexican and we had an Asian. Man, cut it out, bro. So we ain't lie when we say Nolan Wells was the only black person in that friend group. We ain't lie. But nobody has ever said that Nolan Wells was the only black person on the island. I'm sure there was about 4 or 5 out of 2,000. So Tatum has this strategy where Tatum will create a lie that he made up. This is a lie that Officer Tatum made up. But now he's about to debunk the lie that he made up, right? And so Tatum is debating essentially with himself.
Being truthful about what happened.
Charles, your thoughts, your response to what Officer Tatum just said.
I don't necessarily know that the initial statements about Nolan being with some of his white friends is entirely afactual. I also don't know that it is a nefarious statement in as much as these are facts. He was with a number of different white boys or a number of different boys who are white. I think the problem with what Officer Tatum has just pointed out is that there is an underpinning of race when you're having a conversation about the types of things that happen.
Monster Tatum, we said both. That's a fact.
Happens to black boys and black people in Mississippi, such that it cannot be summarily dismissed. I did not necessarily jump to any conclusion, but the history of what race relations have been in Mississippi and how we have not necessarily been safe has caused me to take a special look at this case. It doesn't mean that I'm accusing anyone of anything. It doesn't mean that I do not believe in fighting the process. But at the same time, I am not going to ignore the facts, which you just pointed out. These are facts. He may have been with other black people, but we have seen the pictures, we have seen the photos. There were a number of people who were gathered out there for the July 4th holiday, but Nolan Wells was with 3.
Yo, bro, Tatum is so bad faith. Bro, look at Tatum's reaction. Yo, I've never seen a more middle of the road fence-sitting position on this particular issue than this dude. This dude gave the most middle of the road fence-sitting position, which is, I'm not saying nothing bad happened definitively. What I am saying is there's certain facts that needs to be investigated, and there are certain facts that are concerning. That's like the most middle of the road, can't argue with position ever. That's the position that Tatum is claiming that he's representing. Which is why when you see Tatum's reaction, this face, it tells you Tatum is bad faith. And Tatum is going into this looking to accuse the family through dog whistles, all right, of doing something wrong. Because this brother just gave the most, again, I'm extreme. He's not as extreme as me. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? But he's not as extreme as most of us. He's just not, all right? He's not as extreme as the most of us. He's just not, okay? He's not. But for Tatum to have a problem with this middle of the road, fence-sitting, people can't really argue with opinion, already tells you Tatum is actually the extremist in the situation. Tatum is actually the one who's grifted in the situation. He's the one that's looking to assign blame to Nolan Wells' family and friends, which is just nasty.
Boys who happen to be white. Those are facts.
Man, come on, man.
He was with, but the thing is that it's facts without context. He was with more than just 3 white boys. That's the problem. There was over 20, 30 kids that got on 3 boats, and they all went to the island together. They didn't just travel with Nolan and just these 3 boys.
He was on 3 boats with 30 people. 2 of them, no. One of them was Nolan Wells, who was black. They claimed Javon was on the 3rd boat. Javon's a black kid. Cool. So it was 2, maybe 3 black kids on a boat with 30. Okay, cool. There was 30 white kids on the boat. What are we talking? How does that make it better?
Warren wasn't even on the boat with Nolan when Nolan went out to the island. So some of those things were mischaracterizations of what actually.
I'm sorry I keep pausing. Again, disingenuous here, Tatum. Let's rewind it back real quick. And you're about to see how disingenuous and how much of a bad faith liar Tatum is. Watch
they didn't just travel with Nolan and just these 3 boys. Many of the boys that they're accusing, including Warren, wasn't even on the boat with Nolan.
You see, many of the boys they are accusing wasn't even on the boat. When we heard the audio, in fact, forget the audio. When Warren sat in front of Officer Tatum, what did Warren say? Oh, I was on Wyatt's boat on the way back. One of my friends in front of me was calling Nolan over to get on the boat. Didn't Warren say that he was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get on when they was going back? See, so Tatum will say, hey, Warren didn't go on the boat with Nolan to the island, but like leaves out, Warren was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get on the way back. When you listen to the audio where they're saying, oh my God, Nolan, is he dead, is he dead, is he dead? You also hear them saying, Warren. So again, this bad faith, disgusting liar will tell you, hey, man, Warren was not on the boat to the island. They out here including Warren in a situation for no reason. But they're glad to tell you that Warren admits to Tatum's face that he was supposed to be on the boat. No, he was on the boat with Wyatt, the very same boat that Nolan was supposed to be on the way back. In the audio, the emergency call, they're literally screaming, Warren. Warren admits to Tatum he hopped on the boat and he was helping to fix the pump as well. So again, he's bad faith. He will lie to your face if he has to, which is why I hate when y'all do these debates and y'all try to be principled. These people are not principled. These people are liars, right? If you got to be bad faith to slay a bad faith, or be bad faith as well. How he conveniently leaves out that Warren told him to his face that he was on the boat that Nolan was supposed to get on their way back on their way back home. The audio, you hear them screaming Warren's name. Man, come on, bro.
So some of those things were mischaracterized.
Yo, it does not matter if the audio came out after this debate. Warren told Tatum to his face, I hopped on Wyatt's boat and I was helping fix the pump. I was there when we was calling Nolan over to come on a boat. Nolan stayed with Katie. Katie says, no, Nolan went with them. So according to Katie, Nolan went on the boat that Warren claimed he was on. So it doesn't matter if that audio came out afterwards. He told Tatum to his face. Tatum conveniently leaves it out because Tatum is a bad faith liar. Tatum is a fraud.
characterizations of what actually happened. And the thing is that I don't think it's fair
It's
to
just
say,
too
because
obvious.
history has shown in part that white people or black people have had injustices, that all of a sudden you project that into a new situation. Black people have done nefarious things to other black people. Does that mean that you automatically jump to saying, oh, black people must be wrong in this situation? Because he had his black friends there too. And why nobody's questioning them? Why nobody's saying, oh, why did the black friends rescue him? What did the black kids know about Nolan? And many of them said that they saw him last when the white boys had left at 4:30. So
wait, didn't a black friend sit in front of Tatum? Wait, hold on, bro. Didn't a black friend sit in front of Tatum and tell Tatum that he's been getting death threats? That he's been getting blamed? Didn't he tell you that I came out to defend these white folks as a black man thinking that black folks will support me, but black folks told me that I'm not black enough? Or sorry, that black folks are also on my tail? So one of the black friends sat in front of you and told you to your face that he's getting the same backlash as white friends is getting, but now you're saying we picking and choosing. All right, bro, Tatum, yo, at this point, bro, I don't know why you're keeping platforming this man, bro. He's a fraud.
I just think that the race should never be interjected. Nolan's friends told me, and they proved to me that they were really close to him and they were some of his best friends. They said Nolan would have been incredibly upset at the way people are framing his death and going after his friends with no evidence.
Tatum, hold on, Charles. I would say this to you, Officer Tatum. I get where you're coming from. And by the way, I appreciate the context and I appreciate the reporting on your part, because numerous reports that I had read was talking about how he was the only black kid there. He was a black kid with a few white boys, and you articulating that fact is very important. I think that's important and fair to point out. But what do you say to folks that will ask this kind of a question? He's on a boat, he's on an island, and according to numerous reports, he talked about staying behind and traveling back with a different set of company. Yet his car keys and his phone was left on the boat that he had traveled to those guys with. So what teenager do you know is saying he's staying someplace, but he's going to leave his car keys and his phone on the boat with the guys that he arrived at the island with? That does seem a bit suspicious, particularly when the guy's mother, Nolan Wells' mother, had used some app to locate the phone.
And remember when Tatum interviewed the friend, right? He talked about everything up until why in the hell would he leave his phone behind? So he talked about he left his phone on the boat because the water was waist deep and he ain't want his phone to be wet. So he left the phone on the boat. But he doesn't talk about how y'all claim y'all was calling Nolan over and Nolan says, nah, I'm staying. But Nolan at no point said, hey, I'm staying on the island. Give me my phone, please. Now, Tatum is shaking his head as if Stephen Smith is saying anything that's like that's not reasonable.
These are reports. I'm not pretending to know, Officer Tatum. These are what the report said. What do you say to that?
And this is where I feel like Benjamin Crump and them should be sued for them putting out this information without facts. Let me point the facts out. Sure. Without context, it sounds bizarre. But when you put it in the context that a lot of people left their phones on the boat that left. Many kids came to get their phone after they left the lake. Nolan was with a girl. It's not shocking that Nolan would have said, hey, man, you guys had to leave, because they had to leave in an emergency situation.
What does Nolan being with a girl have to do with him leaving his phone behind? He was with a girl on the island. If y'all are leaving, hey, bro, give me my phone when y'all. Why would he elect to stay on the island and then pick up his phone 4 hours later? Why? Why wouldn't he just hold on to his phone and then put it on another boat if you claim there were other boats there that Nolan was going to take back home?
It wasn't like they had time to prep and everything. The boat was sinking, so they had to go. And they told Nolan, get on the boat, get on the effing boat, man, let's go. And he like, no, I'm finna hang out with this girl. I saw evidence of that, and others who had sent messages that I read that said that they asked Nolan to go and he didn't want to go. Now,
no, the message he's talking about is with Katie. When Katie says the last time I seen Nolan was when y'all was calling him over. And that directly contradicts what they claim. If they claim that Nolan stayed with Katie on the island, then Katie last time seeing Nolan wouldn't be when the friends was calling him over.
Right.
That indicates that Nolan went with the friends if the last time Katie seen him was when the friends was calling him over.
A lot of people left their phones on the boats because they're sitting in chest deep water, and it's a bunch of people out there. The reception is not very good, so most people did not have their phone with them. Now, the phone and the key situation, people need to understand the context.
Man, that reception was awfully good when they made that emergency call. That reception was awfully fine and awfully great when they made that emergency call to get them help with the boat. Nah, hold on, bro. Hold on now. That reception was awfully fine. That reception was crisp when they made that emergency call on the boat that we heard. Yo, Tatum, nothing Tatum is saying makes sense here. No, bro. No, you're not saying, hey, I'm gonna stay on this island with a girl who, by the way, I just met, whose number I don't have yet. Don't pass me my phone so I could get her number. Don't pass me my phone so I could be in possession of it. Now, again, it makes sense why he wanted his phone on the boat while they're on an island. But if they are leaving, why in the world would he want, what? Cool. If he would have taken a boat back, what would he have done once he landed? Once he got to the mainland, what would he have done now to get a ride home if his phone isn't in his hand? How would he have contacted them to get his phone if his phone is not? It makes no sense. It makes sense why the phone is on the boat while he's in water. But once you're leaving, give me my phone. That right there is the natural, logical, give me my phone. Man, cut it out, bro.
His keys with him. Because they were on a boat driving 7 miles out to an island. His keys had always been at the residence where his car was. So when the guys go back, they text Nolan's mother. This is where it ticks me off. They showed me a phone call where immediately The first phone call that was made concerning Nolan was Warren called Nolan's mom, and she hung up the phone on him the first time because she didn't know who he was. The second call, he told her, hey, Nolan haven't come back. Do you know? Have you heard from him?
Okay, that debunks the best friend theory because Nolan is your best friend and his mom don't even know your name or voice. Cut it out. Okay. And secondly, as well, if you leave your homie on the island, right, and you leave your homie at the function and you go home, and you don't hear from your homie in an hour or two, would you automatically go to panic mode, calling Coast Guards, calling authorities, calling the mom? Would you automatically go into panic mode? Most of us won't really think anything of it. Unless you know that something nefarious took place at that island. Unless, hey, bruh, Nolan is not good. Nolan is doing very bad right now. We left that dead body at the island. Hey, mama, you should probably be tapping in right now.
I was fucked up.
If you leave your homie at the function and you home chilling,
especially if I'm fucked up, what? I'm not even thinking about Buddy till I need to holler at him about whatever I need to holler at him about, man. I'm not, if you fucked up and you leave your partner at a party, he with some bitches, you're not worried about that nigga 2 hours after you leave and you got back. The fuck? Shit don't even make sense. That shit don't make no sense. Nothing at all.
Are you automatically in frantic mode an hour afterwards? Or is that something you don't even think of?
And then they called the Coast Guard. So his mother was very much aware that they had Nolan's phone. His mother did not have to track the phone through Life 360. His mother didn't come get the phone. Another parent of a black kid who was out there with Nolan came to get her son's phone and Nolan's phone. So why didn't Al Sharpton or any of them ask these boys what happened, have them show evidence, and then present it to the public?
They did a 3-hour interview with you that was about 6 parts long, and nothing they presented to you is evidence or useful in this case. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And this theory and this nonsense that you believe that Nolan parents, they didn't ask the friend what they know the night Nolan went missing, you're out of your mind. Of course they asked. Of course they asked them. Of course they did. What are you talking about? You think that when Nolan disappeared and when the parents was trying to locate Nolan, they didn't ask the friend, hey, what happened? What do y'all know? You think, Tatum, that you are the only person who asked these kids, what do y'all know? You think the mama who's online begging for any answer she could get never had a conversation with the friend to get what they know? The mama received what the friends told her. She's just saying it doesn't make sense that something is very off about this picture. That's what they're saying.
Definitely.
Trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
Do you know? Hold on, Charles. Do you know whether or not Al Sharpton and those guys had asked her to talk to the kids and the kids refused to talk to them? Do you know?
No, they told me. They told me that they haven't heard anything from Al Sharpton and anybody that tried to contact them. This is what they told.
But the parents already talked to him, and the parents already have their statements already. The parents told Al Sharpton and Ben, this is what they told us. What further? Listen, bro, we're not about to have 3, 4, 5, 6 discussions so y'all can tell us the exact same thing y'all told us night one. What is there to be talked about? Y'all already told us.
This is where y'all parents had communicated and reached out to Benjamin Crump, his team, and said, we would love to communicate with you guys. Any questions you have, we want to talk to you guys so you can get the context. Also, they messaged Nolan's mother multiple times about communicating and saying, hey, if you need anything, if you want to talk, we can give you the context of what happened. And nobody reached out to these boys. And I saw evidence of this, which is what frustrated me about this in the first place.
Charles, floor is yours.
So here's the thing, Officer Tatum, we're not going to litigate the facts on here from one side of someone who's had an opportunity to talk to a sample size of people who were involved in this investigation. You and I know just as well that the real issue here is that the people who conducted the investigation, i.e. the Mississippi Sheriff's Department, who've talked to over 60 witnesses in this case, have not yet presented that case or their findings to a grand jury, and they've been extremely tight-lipped with respect to what they have found and what it is that they know. Where I'm going with this is, regardless of who you may have spoke to, who Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton may have spoken to, what information they have had, we are all trying to piece this together. And so it is equally as unfair to present a certain set of facts as if this is the final context of things, when in reality, we don't know. What I will say about the overall situation is that for me, as a civil rights attorney, I am looking at this and I am saying that there needs to be a greater sense of transparency from the Sheriff's Department, because they are the ones who have spoken to most of the parties who have been involved in this case. They've conducted over 60 witness interviews. They've done the toxicology report. They have the autopsy. So these are the people who are truly from an information place to give the public the most accurate picture. So I am not calling what you're putting out misinformation, but what I am saying is that is just an equally biased and slanted point of view in the opposite way, because it lacks the full context. So because of that, let me finish. It's disingenuous intellectually, number one, to dismiss the notion of race, because that is that is choosing to ignore the history in America that we have faced. Number two, it's equally disingenuous to play a whataboutism to try and substitute the notion of black on black crime, which is a complete misnomer as to why we should not focus, or at least note, I want to say focus, at least note the color issues that are at play with respect to what could or might have happened to.
Man, cook this fool. He's getting cooked, man. He's cooked.
Yo, let him
also,
cook.
Yo, Tatum
Let him
being
cook,
disingenuous
man.
too because
Stop
he's ignoring the aspect of the investigation, right? See, the federal prosecutor, he didn't feed into Tatum's trap of trying to discuss who killed Nolan. He didn't feed into that, right? Which is probably smart because I would have taken the bait, all right? I would have brought up the call. I would have taken the bait. I would have taken that bait, bro. I would have went into that conversation about who killed Nolan. But he's a federal prosecutor. So he didn't take the bait. He didn't get into, yo, these kids did it. What he did say was the race issue and the race component comes in during the investigation. And that's something I don't think you can argue with.
Exactly.
All right? You can't really argue with it here, bro. All right? Yo, again, the only bad faith response here would be prove it, which I would imagine that's what Tatum is about to get to. Prove it. Because, yo, you can't really dispute it. And history will tell you, yo, when a black child dies, they treat it a little differently. There's not an urgency we're seeing here, bro. Nolan Wells dying, again, gets treated a little differently than if Nolan Wells' friends would have died.
Facts.
Because these folks came out and within the first day says, we did not see any signs of foul play. This was not a foul play. He drowned accidentally.
And then with all this information coming out, it's still not one arrest after a month of this, about 3 weeks after bro been found face down, floating in the room.
They was ready to pack up this investigation and send it off with the other inexplicable.
Not one person investigate. Like,
and he said if Nolan Wells was white, there will be a certain level of urgency from the investigators that we weren't seeing here. If Nolan Wells' name was Warren and his mama was actually Cole, a judge within Ocean Springs, we'll be seeing a different level of urgency. Okay? So you can't really dispute that. Right? What you can't say and be bad faith is prove it. Cool, you can cool. Do that. Right? Play that bad faith game. But the problem about the bad faith game is, yo, people see right through it. People see right through this act. This is a fact.
Accusatory. And it's just as disingenuous for you to go further and say, we must assume, or it seems like Crump and Sharpton and everyone else was projecting the notion of race. That may have been your interpretation, which I cannot necessarily argue with. But it is just as problematic for you to suggest the polar opposite of that when none of us have conducted this full investigation. You have a limited sample size. I have a limited sample size. The public has been wrought with misinformation. So for me, the real issue here is a lack of transparency from the sheriff's office to give the public a complete picture.
But let me tell you why I disagree with you fully. As a former police officer, and I was a PIO, I dealt with all of these things. The police department is not an injustice when you say there's a lack of communication or transparency. The police department cannot put this information out there when you still have suspects at large. If they go and release some of this information and show their hands of what they know and don't.
Suspects at large is crazy when y'all came out and says there was no foul play. So what, right? No, we are expecting for y'all to say, okay, here's why there's no foul play. Look at this. All right. So what do you mean suspects at large? Y'all came out and said there's no foul play here. So now the excuse of not being transparent is there's suspects. Who are the suspects then? What do you mean by suspects at large? Who are the suspects? Oh,
And how the fuck is they at large when you know who the fuck the suspects is and where they at and they not on the run? Ain't no fucking at large.
Oh, so y'all, okay, so y'all know better too. So y'all know there are suspects. Y'all know there are people who are involved in Nolan's death. Y'all know Nolan's death was not accidental. Y'all know this, right? Oh, gotcha. So y'all know, while at the same time accusing the family of being crazy. So y'all know, okay, great. Thank you for admitting there are suspects at large, huh? So when it's time, see, bro, y'all cannot have your cake and eat it too. When it's time to avoid accountability and transparency, there are suspects at large here. While simultaneously telling us there was no foul play. Man, y'all are disgusting.
Don't know, then potential suspects will begin to destroy evidence. They'll start hiding. They'll start cleaning stuff. You don't want to give that information out to the public until you know for a fact that you've been able to communicate with every suspect that's out there. If you start putting out the autopsy prematurely and it shows blunt force to the head, strangulation to the neck, then the people who have done this are going to make sure they hide the murder weapon. They're going to make sure they get their stories together and say, no, I didn't hit him in the back of the head. You don't want to project those things too prematurely. So there's no issue with transparency. And I'll say this: the reason that I'm talking about Al Sharpton is because the first thing that they said was that he was there with white boys. Therefore, there had to have been something. And then he goes back historically. Some of them compared this to the young man.
I've heard very different messages from them where they have said, we cannot assume that this is racist.
Now, come on, Tatum, you go down. No, yo, listen, man. We are having raccoon meat for dinner, man. We is having roasted raccoon meat for dinner, people. People, can anybody prepare the raccoon meat? Huh? Hey, man, shout out to Tank Talks TV, man, for rating the live stream. Man, shout out to Tank Talks, man. I appreciate you, bro. So first, we having fried raccoon meat for dinner. Come on, Tatum. Come on, Tatum. Oh, come on, man. Hold on. Oh, this brother cooking you, Tatum. Tatum, you drowning right now, Tatum. You picked the right one. See, this is the audacity of these people, bro. Yo, these far-right extremists who do, again, the most lowbrow content possible. Their content essentially saying black folks is bad, black folks is responsible for all their downfall, and they make nothing but content about disparaging black folks. This is their content. This is what they do. But now when you get in front of somebody who's middle off the road, who's not an extremist, you can't play. You now got to actually use your intellect. Wait. When you don't have one, you get fried like this, man. Oh, the fried raccoon meat right now is on the grill, people. We fried and we grilling it. Oh, my God. So Tatum has a problem with people saying the facts of the case, right? The facts of the case, I'm confused. Right, again, ain't the facts of the case there was white kids who was on the boat? Ain't that the wait, like, I'm so confused here, bro. Don't y'all tell us facts don't care about our feelings? Don't y'all tell us, hey, listen, man, don't ask for contracts for black stats. Don't ask for contracts on the statistics y'all use to vilify black people because the stats are the stats. So the facts are the facts, right? Nolan Wells was on a boat with the majority of white friends. Nolan Wells was probably one of two, maybe one of three black kids on an island of 2,000 people. Aren't that's the facts? So now when we state the facts, y'all got an issue with it. The facts with no accusations. Nolan Wells went to the island with the majority of a white friend group, and he was found dead after the white friends came back untouched. Why do you have a problem with the facts being stated, Tatum? Man, cook this guy,
white
man.
boys.
Therefore,
there had to have been something. And then it goes back historically. Some of them compared this to the young man.
I've heard very different messages from them when they have said, we cannot assume that this is racist. We cannot assume that it wasn't. So
okay, let me jump in there.
Who that, Charles? Hold on. Charles, who said that? Who said that?
Literally during his eulogy, Al Sharpton said that this was racist, and he said we can also not assume that it wasn't.
Take time.
Yo, you know somebody being fraud with the nah, man, take that, man. Bro, take that back. What you mean? Let me go. Nah, let this brother cook, man. Shut up, Charles. Oh, let's Charles is frying the raccoon meat. Oh my God.
Get edited out. Don't worry about it.
Oh my God.
Trust me. All of it is. I'm not editing a damn thing. Go ahead, Officer Tatum. Floor is yours.
Let me interject. When you are looking for justice for your child in a criminal case, meaning that somebody committed a crime against your child, why do you go out and get a civil rights attorney? Benjamin Crump and them are known for going after these cases specifically in injustices against black.
That's such a dumb take.
Let me try first. Okay, go ahead. No, that's fair. No, that's fair, Charles. Go ahead.
I'm a former prosecutor.
Okay.
I'm a civil rights attorney. Please understand how these things work. At the end of the day, when you're talking about quote unquote justice, the first reason why you get someone like Benjamin Crump is because he's a person who has experience with wrongful death lawsuits. It's not about black people. No,
it is. Benjamin don't represent white people.
Please talk about that is completely false. That is completely false.
When was the last case he represented?
Bro, there was a literal white kid that was shot by a police officer, right? That Benjamin Crump, he organized a march for that kid. Bro, Tatum, you're just a liar. But here's the thing, bro. I'm so mad they didn't hone in on Tatum lying. Tatum lied on Al Sharpton. He lied on Al Sharpton. He said that Al Sharpton made it about race when Al Sharpton said we cannot assume it's racist. He lied on Crump. See, Tatum is resorting to lies, and he's drowning when you're in front of somebody who knows what they're talking about, right? All the white supremacist talking points, all the placating to the dominant society, that's not working here.
Lied
it's just
on
not.
The family, on the mom.
It's just not. It's just not.
He lied
and
on
Gunny
victim.
says he finna prove Tatum point. No, fam. First off is this. You hire a civil rights attorney to make sure your rights are not being violated. To make sure that Nolan Wells gets his opportunity for justice. As simple as that, bruh. Right? You hire a spokesperson who has experience in speaking to the masses to make sure the pressure is put on the DA to get the answers that we want.
Facts.
Also, Benjamin Crump comes with a full team. On that team are other other attorneys who are civil rights attorneys. These are experienced prosecutors. These are experienced defense attorneys. These are people, for the most part, who knows how to get the work done. When you watch the press conference Benjamin Crump has, you have prosecutors, ex-prosecutors, ex-defense attorneys. You had that Asian lady who's not a civil rights attorney. She's a defense attorney. You got the Mexican dude who's an ex-prosecutor.
Excuse me. God,
so it comes with a full team who knows what they're doing. That's why Benjamin Crump is involved here.
I'm not here to do your research for you.
No, you're the one saying it. I'm telling you it didn't happen.
But Benjamin Crump has a long-standing career of supporting people of all races and ethnicities when it comes to the violation of their civil rights, as well as personal injury. So please let me answer your question.
Go ahead.
The reason why you get a civil rights attorney is because, number one, Benjamin Crump has extensive experience when it comes to wrongful death suits. Number two, in this situation, it is possible that there may be an element that Nolan Wells' civil rights were violated and that something may have happened to him because of his color, which is why you get a civil rights attorney, which is why you get a civil rights attorney. And so that is the answer to your question.
It's about
As
color.
a former prosecutor, you let the police and the sheriff's office deal with the notion of criminality because that is
Tatum has an intellectual disability.
one thing that Benjamin Crump can't do anything about.
Let's say this. Brother, can I jump in here?
You go get someone like Benjamin Crump.
Why wouldn't the kids get civil rights? Like, for instance, people were saying, why did these kids lawyer up? First of all, many of them didn't even have a lawyer. They went and talked to investigators and did a lie detector test equivalent with no lawyers. Okay, so, but anyway, would you think it would be weird if these kids went out and got a civil rights attorney?
Wait, pause. Why would, do Tatum have an intellectual disability, bro? Yo, I'll be real, I'm starting to feel bad, man. Listen, bro, I'm starting to feel bad for Tatum, bro. Yo, this level of belt up behind seems cruel. Why would children who are not victims of crimes, why would they get a civil rights attorney? Why would the white kids get, bro, listen, man. Listen here, bro. Tatum, bro. Tatum, bro. Yo, give it up, homie. Give it up, yo. I'll be real, yo. Tatum's handlers, they got to reduce his monthly allowance after this, man. Because they bring people like Tatum in, right, to be intellectually dishonest, to bad face their way to winning these debates. But Tatum, you getting fraud, bro. This is
Civil rights attorney?
You getting fraud, Tatum.
Why would they have a civil rights attorney? They're not being accused of anything.
They are being accused. They are being accused. They are accused. Benjamin Crump.
Show me where Al Sharpton has accused them of something.
All right, they said this is what they said.
Suspicious.
Nah, Tatum, show the facts, bro. Again, you see what I mean by you? Yo, he just lies. He just makes it up. Yo, Tatum is what? He's about 45 seconds from agreeing with this dude that Al Sharpton said, yo, this is not about racism. We cannot say it's about racism with no proof. He's 45 seconds out from agreeing to that, and now he's bringing it back to lie on Al Sharpton again. Man, Tatum, you should be embarrassed.
Accuse them of something.
All right, they said this is what they said.
Suspicious.
This is what they said. They said they put these boys' pictures out on the internet and said he went out, and they framed it as he went out just with them, and something happened, and we know something happened, and they Tatum, you sound manic right now, bro. Tatum, you sound manic, bro. They put out bro. The mama posted pictures when Nolan disappeared. The mama posted pictures of Nolan on the island with people and said, yo, these were the people my son was with. Can you have them reach out to me? The mama posted pictures of Nolan on the island and said, yo, this is what Nolan was wearing. If anybody have seen him, please reach out to me. What are you? They never said, here's the picture of who Nolan was with. These are the people who killed Nolan. You are drowning right now. You sound manic, bro. The mama posted pictures to find her son, who at the time was missing. Oh my God. Hiding phones and doing all this.
Oh my God. Again, the mama never said that. The family never said that. Now, the YouTubers like myself, the content creators, we probably said something very similar. But you can't put our actions on the mama. What are you talking about, bro? The family, right? Again, the family do not answers for the content creators in our content at all. The family have never accused those kids. Never. Ever.
And we know something happened. And why they hiding phones and doing all this? He's accusing them.
That's not an accusation. That's not an accusation. That is
an accusation.
That's not an accusation.
Charles, let me chime in here. A statement of suspicion, some people would say, is an accusation. I understand from the legal, literal sense what you're saying. But talking amongst ourselves right now, when you say a statement of suspicion is not an accusation, that's not how people interpret a statement of suspicion. When you make a statement of suspicion, you're making an accusation. I mean, can we at least concede that, Charles?
What I will say in response to that, Stephen A., is to whatever extent there may have been statements of suspicion that were interpreted in that manner given early on, I think the record has been clear leading up to and during Nolan Wells' funeral that A, we don't know what happened, B, we won't rule anything out, and C, with respect to ruling anything out or not ruling anything out, we are not saying that this absolutely happened, but we are not saying that we are resting until we get answers.
Officer Tatum, let me come at you with this. What's wrong? There's a kid now. Okay, granted, you did your homework. You went out there and you actually talked to several of his friends. Props to you for that. But the bottom line is, this kid Nolan Wells is dead, and he was the only one that was dead. What's wrong with, again, in the state of Mississippi? Not just with white boys. There were some dudes there as well. But he had other people there. He was the one that did not come home alive. Again, without an official accusation. What's wrong with having your suspicions raised and saying, listen, we need some damn answers. Something ain't right. He was a healthy young 18-year-old and he didn't come home alive. How'd that happen? What's wrong with
Now, if they had context and all the information and then they led with that, I would have no problem with it. But let me tell you this right now, Stephen.
Remember before this video started when y'all told me, oh no, Flacco, Tatum said that they might have been something. No. Tatum have seen all the evidence, and he's still refusing to commit to something bad might have happened and an investigation is needed. It's simple as that. But instead, Tatum is resorting to spending the last week and a half vilifying the family and Al Sharpton. And we've seen during this interview, Tatum is willing to just outright lie. Now, here's the thing. If Tatum was not sitting in front of somebody who knew the facts, he would have been able to parade this lie unchecked, right? Tatum is so bad faith, he will get checked and get debunked and get exposed during a debate like this and be given the facts. And Tatum will go back on his channel. I guarantee you, he'll go back on his channel and continue to lie on Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, even after hearing Al Sharpton say, it's not about racism, we cannot confirm that. I'm telling you guys right now, bro.
Right now, if a white boy was on an island with his black friends, all black, and some white folks put on a camera that something must be suspicious because the one white boy is with all these black dudes, and something may have happened. We know that people covering it up and everything because these kids black. Man, we'd be pissed off on that. Ain't no way in the world I'd accept somebody saying, you're going to blame these black boys for doing something to this kid just because they black? That's insane.
Yo, Tatum have lost his mind. Yo, these people, again,
retarded.
They are not rooted in principle and integrity. They don't have any foundation for their moral principles and code. They just don't, right? Their moral compass doesn't have any type of...
So it was this saying a long time ago, right? A wise person once said, children or people actually don't grow up, but they eventually mature, right? Meaning, the young age, whatever you mature at, whatever age that is, mentally a lot of motherfuckers be stuck there like big ass kids. Like they never really grow the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it seemed like right here. It seemed like mentally, or maybe this is just his character, like Charleston White. You know what? I didn't even think about it like that. His character is an officer when he's actually a YouTuber. He's not really an officer, but he's portraying those officers. And we know how those officers think. Okay, I'll allow it.
They are not morally intact. That statement from Tatum is laughable. It's blasphemous because Tatum is the same dude who support a guy who falsely accused 5 innocent black kids of raping and murdering some. Tatum still supports that guy. That's his president, right? Charlie Kirk believed that the exonerated 5 was guilty. Charlie Kirk, to his death, called them guilty. Tatum and his homies, his right-wing homies, they believe the exonerated 5 is still guilty. And they continue to call them guilty to this day, even though the exonerated 5 was proven to be not guilty, right? They didn't do a thing. So hold on, bro. So hold on, bro. All right. So 5 innocent black men was accused of a grape in Central Park, and they was proven to be innocent. White folks continue to call them guilty. Yo, homies, and we ain't never seen you Tatum say, yo, you know what, yo, hey, bro, the Central Park 5 was exonerated. They ain't do it. They not guilty. Y'all stop this. Y'all stop this now. No. You ain't never done that. But now you want to use the example of, man, what would y'all say if these black kids, if these 4 black kids was been accused of? We've already seen it, Tatum, and you ain't say a thing. As a matter of fact,
I think Flacco should debate this man. But the way Flacco pulling out receipts and shit that he remember about this nigga, I know that motherfucker's not gonna debate this nigga. He wouldn't dare debate this nigga. Not on his worst day.
You support the false accusations of the Central Park 5. You support it. So don't get to the high and mighty stuff now, bro. Man, bro, cut it out, bro.
This kid, because they black, that's insane.
And that's what happens. If a white boy had been on that boat with 3 black boys, we would have seen it very different.
Where's your evidence?
Yo, what I tell y'all? Yo, remember I told y'all about 20 minutes ago? Tatum is going to resort to the most bad faith response, which is, what's your evidence? What's the proof? Man, listen, bro. My experience is the proof. History is the proof. History. A bunch of grown men came and got Emmett Till in the middle of the night, murdered him and got off. That's my proof right there.
Give me a case.
History.
No, history. You say history.
Emmett Till, that's my proof.
We would have seen a very different.
Give me an example.
Of the Central Park, the exonerated 5.
First of all, 5 of them didn't go to prison. It was Central Park 5. Only 4 of them went to prison.
It was actually 6 of them, and 5 went. And I'm not.
And let me tell you how they went to prison.
I'm not going to quit with you.
You won't get the context.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Okay. Now, wait, hold on. Now let's give context. Well, hold on, Tatum. So we're being presented, all right, with you. He gave you an example, all right?
Right.
6 black kids was accused of doing something they didn't do, and they went to prison for it. They were exonerated, Tatum. Instead of you saying, yo, bro, the system failed, you're now about to provide the false context of literal children being manipulated by seasoned detectives at 13 or 14 years old. You're about to say these kids that was coerced into a confession by seasoned detectives without their parents being there, without legal representation being there. You're now about to use racist detectives owning in on innocent kids and coercing them into a confession as the context as to how this situation right here is different. Put Warren as a 13-year-old in an interrogation room without his mama with seasoned detectives. I can guarantee you a confession will be had within 30 minutes. As simple as that.
You asked for an example. I'm not going to quibble with you and say they're called the exonerated five and only for what you.
Put them bitches that was on the boat in the background during that call in the interrogation room and watch they tell the truth.
I'm not going to do that. The exonerated five. You wanted an example? I gave you an example.
That's not an equivalent example.
And there are other examples throughout history, starting with Emmett Till and going throughout.
Are you comparing this to Emmett Till?
You asked me.
No, are you saying that this is equivalent?
You asked me for an example.
So you're saying that it's equivalent?
If reversed.
Okay. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm telling you, I'm giving you examples. What I'm telling you is that if the situation were reversed, we would have seen a very different investigation from law enforcement from the actual outset. From the outset. We as a people, when it comes as a former prosecutor, because here's the thing, you're a former police officer, and that's fine. But when it comes to after arrests are made and how prosecutions are going, that's my space. That's my lane. So I'm going to speak from my lane. And what I can tell you is we do not typically enjoy the benefit of the doubt when it comes to probable cause.
That's not true.
I'm telling you as a former prosecutor, I'm not going to tell you what it's like.
I arrest people and I deal with prosecutors.
Yo, can you imagine? Yo, I'll be real, bro. Yo, can you imagine being an innocent black man having the displeasure of an encounter with Officer Tatum when he was a police officer? Yo, can you imagine being an innocent brother being pulled over by Officer Tatum? Dog, I'll be real, bro. That's a scary sight, homie. That's a scary sight, bro.
No, it ain't.
Being an innocent black man having an encounter with Officer Tatum when he was on patrol. Nah, so dog.
No, it ain't. It ain't a scary sight for a nigga like us that knows something. That shit ain't nothing but a reparations check waiting to happen. I'm telling you. As soon as a bitch try to violate my rights, I'm gonna get a reparations check out this bitch. That's all they be doing when they be violating niggas' rights. That's why I always tell niggas, sue they ass. I don't give a fuck. Sue they motherfucking ass. I know shit, right? And I know what I'm saying? I see what the fuck they want to get away with. I be like, huh? You want me to do what? You sure about that? You sure you want me to do that? You sure? What's the articulable suspicion? Oh, but you want me to, okay. All right, okay. Oh, you want to do something else? You want to do what? You want to do that too? You sure you want to do that too? All right. Let's go. I don't tell you. I don't give a damn how long it take. I don't give a damn how long it take. I really want my rights get violated in the bank. By a bank where I hold an account at. I'm gonna get 2 checks. I'm gonna get 2 checks. Cause I'm gonna set their ass up twice. If they ever twirl me, I'm gonna set their ass up again. I'm gonna get a check at the bank and the police. Oh, that's what happened, yeah.
Yo, if this is your opinion of black folks, can you imagine Tatum? My God,
I'm telling you as a former prosecutor, I'm not going to tell you what it's like.
I arrest people and I deal with prosecutors.
I'm not
I have to do it. I have to interview with the prosecutors every time there's an arrest. And we have to go to trial.
Well, he's not saying that you don't know. Hold on. He's not saying that you don't know Officer Tatum. What he's saying is from his perspective as a prosecutor, this is what he's bringing up. Now, I granted, I don't blame Officer Tatum. I don't blame Officer Tatum for bringing up when acting incredulous when he says that you say Emmett Till. That's 1955. With Al Sharpton brought Medgar Evers at the funeral. That's 1963. So if Officer Tatum's going to look at it and say, that's what you're bringing up, I get where he's coming from in terms of the distance between then and now. But I also get where you're coming from, Charles Coleman Jr., when you highlight, listen, from an historical perspective, we're talking about, we've seen things like this before. And those are just names that we know. There's a plethora of names that we may not have known that have transpired throughout history that have suffered some some of these maladies, and we get that part too. Go ahead, Officer Tatum, floor is yours.
And what I'm saying is that you cannot project that. It's unfair to project that. You can have it in your subconscious that there has been things that have been done wrong, but you got to treat these things fairly. You cannot go out and project that somehow the sheriff is a racist and he's not going to do right by these boys. That's not right. Let the investigation ensue, and then if you see impropriety in the investigation, then you can project that. But listen,
But that's why, because in the initial beginning, they came to an early conclusion without even receiving specific necessary details and facts. That's the whole reason. Fuck, nigga. The fuck?
they interviewed all of them. You just said they interviewed 60 people. They interviewed all these boys the day of. What did they do wrong? They did an autopsy.
Officer Tatum, respectfully, what about those who would say the same or would ask the same question about you? Are you being?
There's no way they interviewed 60 people the day of. There's no way. There's no fucking way. I guarantee you there's no fucking way they interviewed 60 people the day of, especially when nobody said the police talked to them. Especially the boy Joe Vaughn said nobody talked to him. And it was 3 weeks after he was found. 2 weeks after he was found. The fuck, bitch.
You being fair, because just like you have people out there that are elevating their level of suspicion and jumping to some sort of conclusion attached to guilt as it pertains to the death of Nolan Wells, you're coming across as somebody who's assuming these individuals that were in attendance with him were innocent because of your conversations with them, as opposed to not getting the full context the way Charles Coleman Jr. just highlighted.
No, yeah, I accept people saying that, but let me tell you that I saw proof. I'm not just taking somebody's account.
Yo, Tatum's, watch this, yo. I'm about to show y'all how dangerous Tatum is, okay? Yo, have y'all seen Tatum coverage on Sia Massey? Yo, listen, yo, Tatum, yo, wait 1 second. Bro, Tatum tap danced Sia Massey so crazy that he had to apologize. Yo, do you understand how bad you gotta be when the racist white folks who follow you, when they say, hey, bro, Tatum, you went, yo, watch this, yo. Yo, Tatum watched a black woman get shot and killed in her own kitchen because she had water in her hands. And Tatum says the shooting was justified. Watch this real quick. Watch this. Yo, listen, I'm about to show y'all how dangerous Officer Tatum is real quick. And then we'll be back, okay? And we'll go back to that, okay? So look, and we'll go back to the interview real quick. Okay. So look at the thumbnail. Look at the thumbnail of Sia Massey being shot and killed in her kitchen was justified. That was the thumbnail. Justified, people? So now look, now watch this. Now here is Tatum. So Tatum is about to justify, probably, listen, the most clear-cut, even the white nationalists and the black nationalists, we all came together to say, hey, this is wrong. This is foul. Watch Tatum justify officers shooting and killing a black woman in her kitchen because they told her to take the water off the stove. She had water in her hands and she was shot and killed. The officer got found guilty in a court of law and got 20 years. Watch Tatum make every excuse for these officers. Watch this.
I have to say, I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified.
So Tatum says Sia Massey's shooting was justified, and this is the man who believes he's the arbitrator of truth and fairness. Dog, Tatum, Tatum, do you understand?
Officer Tatum does not like black people. And people like him. Even if he resembles them, he doesn't even like himself. This is clear case of self-hatred. He probably has hate for his father, grandfather. The hate with this one runs deep.
You understand, bro, how we look? Bro, we look at you,
You gotta
as a voice of white
recognize these
supremacy. We
type
look
of
at you
individuals.
as an absolute agent of chaos. Watch this.
I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified. You can't throw boiling water on a police officer and not get shot.
She didn't throw boiling water on. They told her to take it from off the stove. Watch this.
No, she told her to put it down. They told her to put it down.
Description section discount code will pop up right here. Like this video, hit the like button. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, the deputies in Illinois in hot water. No pun intended. I'm not, that's too soon. Maybe it's too soon. I'm really not trying to make fun of this woman. It's a tragedy when anybody loses their life. I don't care if they're a criminal or not, except for if you abuse kids, then no, you're on your own, Jack. For the most part, I don't care what situation a person is in. It's incredibly sad if a person loses their life. Never do I want to see a law enforcement officer
get to
the life of another person, justified or not justified. It doesn't matter. I do not want to see it happen. I wish that we could avoid these things. Now, with that being said, let's talk about this specific situation. Allegedly, and through the documents, and when I say allegedly, because I don't believe none of the news says, and I don't believe the outcome of some of these cases anyway. However, I'll just use the word allegedly. So they responded to a prowler call, which means a person who's lingering or loitering around the property, potentially going in the backyard, searching through stuff. Could be an individual that could be looking to burglarize a facility.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with
They show up to this woman's house, looking around the yard first, and then they make contact with her.
No, first of all, she called them, right? I think that she called them. Yeah, she called them because she had some type of suspicion. So the context of them looking around, looking prowlers, no, she called them. They realized who they were speaking to. The homeowner. The homeowner is who called you. You guys get in the house and murder her. Tatum then makes an excuse for the officers every way. So if Tatum can watch a murder take place on camera and make an excuse for the murder that took place on camera in front of us, where even the racist or white supremacist were saying, bro, this is this is bad. What do you think Tatum is gonna do for a situation like Nolan Walls, where we gotta grind our teeth to get information? He has the benefit of reasonable doubt. So he's going to support white supremacy any chance he gets. But watch this real quick. Watch Tatum make an excuse for this.
Mentally ill, according to the documents, suffer from schizophrenia and probably other mental health issues. Initially, when you watch this video, you're going to see that they were having a cordial conversation, and then it goes south. Benjamin Crump is on the case, so you know it's all BS, in my personal opinion. We would never hear about this case if the woman was white and these officers were white, or if the officers were black and this woman was white. You'll never hear about it whatsoever. The only reason we're hearing about this is because Benjamin is trying to get some money and trying to get a payout. They ended up indicting the police officer that fired the shot, charged him with 3 counts of murder.
What's Buddy vendetta against
Ben? The process and tell you specifically why I think there's room for improvement in tactics. I think that things could have been done differently. Maybe those things would have saved her life, but that has nothing to do with whether, in my opinion, whether an officer is justified or not in this particular instance, in the predicament that they were already in. There's a lot for me to talk about, so I'm gonna just get the video started and I'm gonna go methodically through the video and bring it up. I'm open to somebody disagreeing with me if it's justified or not. I don't think every police involved situation is justified. In this specific situation,
bro, get to the nonsense, Tatum. You talk too much, bro. You clown.
You ready? One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
This stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
Check on her. We don't need a fire while we're here.
Right.
Okay, so they said we don't need a fire in here. Maybe she should check on the food, right?
They told her to, again, she's sitting on the couch, people. She's sitting on the couch. They told her to go and turn off the stove. First off, even IDing this woman, but why are you IDing her? You came to her house to help her out. If nothing bad is happening, leave. But she's on the couch being cooperative, being nice. You tell her, yo, turn off the stove. So again, she goes to turn off the stove. Watch this.
So she's probably discombobulated, rambling, and doing all these other things. She seems to be someone who's struggling mentally, right? There's training that officers are supposed to undertake to help them mitigate conflict with people who are struggling with mental illness. Because you're mentally ill don't mean you deserve to get killed over something, right? So officers should be trained and adequate enough to deal with a person and keep things calm so they don't have to get into a deadly force situation. They asked her to go and turn that fire off because they wanted to catch on fire while they were over there talking to her. And this is what happens next.
Wait for your hot water.
Okay, so now she has the boiling hot water in her hand. It seemed like she poured it out, but I guess she didn't pour it all out. And then she started making statements to them. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Again, she poured out some of the water because it was overflowing. So she poured it out. If her intention was to throw the boiling water on the officers, why would she pour it out? Also, look at where they're at. Look at where she's at. You think this woman is able to throw boiling water, 30 feet? You think she's able to throw boiling water and fatally harm them from where she's at right now? Clearly not, right? And when she says, yo, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, clearly she was onto something. Clearly she knew something that we didn't know because these devils was in her house about to murder her.
Now, as a police officer, you're talking to somebody who's mentally unstable. Now she has a pot of boiling water.
Come on. Yo, what educated? Yes.
And now she's starting to turn.
Is it not good already?
Your antennas will go up. We'll get to some other options here. Your antennas will go up.
Cool, 10 feet.
If somebody's now talking,
you think she's throwing water 10 feet?
In the name of Jesus, you become the enemy. They got a pot of boiling water in their hand, and then they're rebuking you in the name of Jesus. The question law enforcement officers should be asking themselves and engaging is that what is she thinking, and is she going to turn on us? Is this going to turn into an altercation? This woman has boiling water in her hand, and she's rebuking us now.
No, I forgot.
Now, this officer here,
Bruh, listen, man. Them devils heard, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, while dealing with somebody who they deem is mentally ill. And the first thing these devils go to, again, not to get out the house. The first thing these devils go to is, I'll shoot you in your face. Huh? Because she told you she'll rebuke you in the name of Jesus?
Okay. Do I agree with the way he articulated what he said?
Come
No,
on,
I
Tatum.
don't like when officers talk
Come
like
on,
that,
Tatum.
because this is what happens when you end up shooting somebody. You already look like a deranged fool
I rebuke you.
and look like a
means you get
murderous
shot
thug
and killed.
because you don't have enough respect and decorum and professionalism not to talk like that to people.
This is who we're
You
dealing
may
with,
think
people.
to your mind, I'm gonna shoot you. You better drop it. Have a little bit of respect and know that you got to cover yourself and be professional. So if the thing goes south, you're not on camera saying, I'm gonna shoot you in the head. That seems like an exaggerated, like an acceleration of force. He didn't de-escalate anything. He's escalating. Now, this woman shouldn't have this boiling pot in her hand in the first place. She should put it down. Now, this is an unsafe situation. Where do they go from here? So she squats down. He's on gun. I do not have a problem with him being on gun because he's the officer that's closest to her. And this officer is now.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know. Part 2.
All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making by showing you how much traffic they're getting, where the traffic's coming from, and even which social.
Over here, he don't know if he's on taser or not. In this situation, this is a small house, and stuff can start getting active real quick. You're not going to be able to turn your back on her and run out of the door. At this point, you're kind of stuck in a position where you need to be keeping your eyes on her because you don't know what she's going to do. Now, I'll point this out. This is why I think that this is more justified than not. We don't know what's in that pot. Do you? Do we?
What? Water? What? So again, we'll get back to the Nolan Wells thing real quick, okay? I just wanted to show you guys an example of how bad faith this person is. Tatum is justifying officers shooting a woman in her face, killing her, and then calling her a bee as she's laying down on the floor lifeless because she had water in her hands.
Maybe now we do. But at the time, this woman is crazy and she's now manipulating this pot. How do we know she don't have acid in this pot or something even more dangerous?
So a woman, so Tatum is saying a woman.
Bro, and this the type of shit that these motherfuckers actually try to use as their defense and shit when they do bullshit like this, bro. He actually give you the insight into the idiotic way and the idiotic thought process of them motherfuckers.
Woman, had a pot of acid that was uncovered. The lid was open on a pot of acid as it was on the stove burning. So she was cooking acid in her home in a confined space. Now do you understand why we don't listen to Officer Tatum speak on Nolan Wells? Now do you understand why we don't listen to Officer Tatum speak on Nolan Wells?
Okay. Now, officers' tactics is terrible right here. I'm not trying to judge them too harshly because when the stuff is hitting the fan.
I'm not trying to judge somebody too harshly who just shot and killed a woman. Man, Tatum, come on.
Real quick. Where one guy is in front of another. If I was with a friend right here and this is body-worn camera, he's the one in the bigger threat. So he should have gun. He has a vest on. I get how it's getting active right now. So I'm not really trying
get to the.
You're actually done. You go get a potential headshot.
Now, they just shot a woman. Yo, bro. Yo, here's how inhumane these devils are. They just shot a woman who had water in her hands. She fell. She's lifeless with nothing in her hands. And instead of rendering aid and trying to save her life, they are standing over her with guns to her. So if she moves, they can shoot her again. This is what he's justifying.
Now, people may interpret this officer as brash and no, he's scared.
Oh, that's what we missed. We missed him calling her a bee.
We're going to see here in a minute.
I'm going to go get my kid. Bitch, you're done.
Effing.
You go get a potential headshot.
It's a headshot. She's gone. So now look at the comment sections. Look at the comment section. Okay. Look at the comment sections. Nah, bro. Retired SWAT officer here. I've dealt with 5150 with knives, machetes, or even a hostage. All of them were alive when we were done. Tatum needs to go sit down on this one. Man, come on, bro. As a current cop of 11 years, I say hell no to this being justified. Man, come on, bro. Man, come. Another former officer here. I literally searched his channel and said, let me see how Officer Tatum justifies the officer's actions and vilifies the victim. Bro, he did not disappoint. Officer Tatum is the absolute worst. Come on, bro. Told y'all he was on. Oh, come on, bro. Fam. So do y'all understand this, bro? When y'all hear Tatum react to Nolan, take nothing Tatum is saying in good faith. Tatum justified a woman being shot and killed on camera because she had water in her hands. Water in her hands, who, by the way, they told her to go get. The officer was sentenced to jail. He's in prison right now because of this. So he clearly was not justified. So when Tatum wants to speak on Nolan Wells, remember what he said about Saya Massey. Straight up.
And I'm not saying that nobody didn't kill Nolan. I'm telling you, the people that they put out on the internet and said these white boys were the only ones with him, and they're getting death threats. While I was out there, somebody sent the suspicious package to one of the boys' houses. They showing up at these boys' houses saying that they killed him. Go look on the internet and look at any videos. They got the boy pictures up there saying they had something to do with his death. They're claiming they deleting text messages. All of this stuff is incredibly ridiculous. When I went out and I said, show me the proof then. Not just what you say, show me the proof. And these kids are showing proof. Their lawyers are showing proof that they had nothing to do with this. They have a Life 360 just like Nolan did. Their Life 360 showed that they were not on the island, or at least for the young man that I interviewed, he wasn't even on the island. I saw his Life 360. So these kids, they shouldn't have done these boys like this. They should.
So let me ask you a question. So you're highlighting specifically, you're not even saying, like you just said, you're not even saying that Nolan Wells, that some vile act, that he wasn't murdered. You're saying that these boys, those are the ones that are being unfairly scrutinized and villainized by this whole ordeal. That's what you're saying, Officer Tatum. Is that accurate?
Yes, Stephen A. There were black kids there who now getting threats online too for coming out and saying something. But nobody's saying, what did these black kids have anything to do with it? The young girl he was kicking it with, they don't have her name out there. Her name is Katie, but I'm not gonna say a full name. I don't want her to get doxxed. They not nobody talking about her. She said she was the last one. She at least mentioned that she was with him. The boy showed me text messages from her that she's saying that she was with him.
Imagine being able to build anything.
But he's not
just by
mentioning
thinking
what
about
she
it.
said.
Meet Base 44.
He's not mentioning none of that.
Like, why ain't nobody coming at? How nobody coming at her?
I've seen, and see, this is where it gets dangerous, right? The importance in this moment is to focus on the integrity of the overall process. And when I say the overall process, I'm referring to the investigation, because I knew that the girl's name was Katie. I don't know her last name, and I knew it because there were people who I was seeing in the comment sections that I had on videos that I had done updating people about the case, who were asking the same questions that you have. People,
Benjamin Crump isn't.
Please. So here's the thing, which is why when you're trying to, and at the end of the day, listen, you don't know what Benjamin Crump is doing as far as investigating a case. The same way that you talked about as an investigation, there are certain things that
he just talks. Tatum knows nothing. He just talks.
Don't reveal. You don't know what that team of lawyers are doing with respect to trying to ascertain the facts. When it comes to, did they answer you or did they not answer you?
They answered us on the last one and refused to respond to us. They refused to engage with us.
And they don't owe you that.
That's fine. Well, don't act like you're trying to get to the bottom of something.
So again,
don't act like you're trying to get to the bottom of something.
Don't do the thing to them that you are accusing other people of doing.
He said he's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Don't make assumptions that
I'm not
for them. No, you are. Like, they're not doing this, and they're trying to make.
They're not reaching out to the boys.
They have not spoken to you.
They haven't spoken to the
boys. Charles, in fairness, at least.
No, it's no in fairness, yo. The family spoke to the boys on night one. The family spoke to them. They told the family, this is all we know. Here is everything. So if the family already has the boys' statements, and they're saying this is all we know, this is our story, and we're sticking to it, why would Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton need to talk to the boys? Why would they need to the family already know what the boys' stories are. The boys have made it perfectly clear what their stories are, right? So it makes no sense. Again, them not speaking to the boys does not take away from everything. Benjamin Crump is not investigating this. He's a civil rights attorney. Al Sharpton is not investigating this. He's a civil rights attorney. They're saying, hey, bruh, we're going to speak up and we're going to go out of our way and have our team on this and have them do the investigation. But the family already knows the boys' statements. What, should they talk to the boys 3-4 times so they can tell them, hey, we told Nolan let's get on the boat. Nolan didn't get on the boat. So we left with his phone, his everything. Like, why do Tatum think this is such a gotcha moment? It's not.
He's answered this question. If indeed it's to be found out that there's been no attempt by whether it's Sharpton or Benjamin, anybody else, to reach out to the actual boys who were supposed to be in attendance with Nolan Wells, as Officer Tatum just highlighted, do you feel that's the right path that they should be taking if they're raising suspicions, calling for a more thorough and open investigation, etc., and they haven't made personal attempts to reach out to these young men themselves? Do you think that would be the right thing to do?
I can't think,
to ask Officer Tatum's question.
Sure, I can't imagine that legal team would look to bring a lawsuit without having attempted to at least try to get some investigative answers from these boys. Now, when in this process they do it is a different question, because at the end of the day, the more information you have, the more informed questions you can ask. And the chances are you're not going to get multiple bites at that apple. So from a strategic place, what I can tell you is that, yes, I would fully expect that at some point they would endeavor to reach out to these boys, but it may not be this point.
Also, isn't it crazy how Tatum makes an excuse for the officers not providing information to Benjamin Crump or the family because they are still investigating and they don't want to leak anything about possible suspects? But Tatum does not give Crump and his investigation team the same just do and say, hey, listen, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know how they're investigating. You don't know what they're looking into. You just don't. So you give the DA and the sheriffs, you give them the benefit of the doubt for not being transparent, for seemingly fumbling this investigation, but yet Crump and them is on your timeline. Man, shut up, man. That's the facts, man.
They're not going to get, boys, but it may not be this point because they may be waiting for additional information so that they can actually ask better questions. They're not going to get multiple chances to do it.
Tatum, you're getting cooked. Also, too, by the way, right now, bro is playing Tatum's own game with him, right? Bro, now again, let's be real here, okay? All right, we can all agree that if Crump ain't reach out yet, all right, but don't concede an inch. Bro is being just as bad faith as Tatum is, right? And Tatum can't take it. This will be a Tatum explanation if Tatum was on the opposite side. We don't know when they're going to reach out. They might reach out next week or in a month. They got to do the investigation to find the right answer to ask them. How you don't like bad faith responses, Tatum? Now, again, I'm of the mindset the family already got their statements. The boys have already put out the statements. Actually called the boys' mama has put out her statement. So why would you need to talk to the three boys when there's hundreds of people who are like bringing in tips? Crump, the mama, and everybody involved have made it very clear. They have been talking to people since this very investigation started. And there's hundreds of people who have brought in tips they've been following.
So when you do it, you want to make sure that you're doing it the best way you can. And the only way to do that is to have the information that you need in order to ask the best questions.
Charles, they drug these boys through the mother freaking mud. They put their faces online.
They ain't doing a thing, bro. Listen, the boys' faces were already online well before them.
Benjamin Crump shared this video or this picture of them in the swimming pool. That happened. That event was a week before July 4th. He didn't do no due diligence to check with anybody.
But Ben Crump says, yo, people online are saying this. Do anybody have any proof of this? Benjamin Crump posted a picture asking people to come forward with any information about the picture. What are you talking? Yo, how do you do research? Yo, how do you investigate and ask for tips? But I can't present what I want to tip on.
Before he started putting this stuff out there. Then what he do is he go, I had people saying that the argument was Nolan Wells asking for his phone back. He didn't talk to Tristan, who I interviewed. Tristan said on NBC, that was me, or ABC, that was me. That was not Nolan. But Benjamin Crump still, to this day, haven't came out and said, we found out that it was another young man. He pushed this stuff on.
What are y'all talking about? First off, how would he know it's another man when he's getting varying reports? Varying reports, all right? And there were multiple altercations that took place, right? So, again, if 10 people is telling Ben Crump this,
It's natural for things to slow down in the bedroom, but why settle for natural? This has us jumping each other like we're 20 again. Regiet Ready is a discreet ED med that does 5 things most others can't.
10 people is telling him this. How did he decide, I'm gonna believe these 10 people and not this 10 people, especially if the people telling me this are the people who are trying to exonerate themselves? So if 10 folks tell me, yo, Nolan Wells was asking for his phone back, then the other 10 is saying, no, he didn't. But the 10 that's telling me, no, he didn't, are the 10 that are possible suspects. Why in the world would I believe the 10 telling me and not the 10 who told me, yo, he did? So no, of course he has not conceded any point to it because it's still an active investigation and these are people being looked at.
On these boys and they're getting death threats. That stuff is not right. Benjamin should be more responsible. But the reason
I'm not here to talk about Nolan Wells' lawyer. I'm here to talk about why Nolan Wells is dead.
But let's get to the conversation. Let's get to the phones.
Go ahead.
The phone's getting deleted. Because Al Sharpton came out there and said the mama had to go and search the phone down in Life 360. No, she didn't. The boy showed text messages, or the parents showed text messages of them communicating with his mom. She refused. And then they go and say they deleted. The boys say, the boys told me it could be not true or not. I don't know. They got to figure it out. They go, we didn't touch his phone. His phone went from the boat to the car with everybody else's phone. And when they came to get the phone, we got the phone out of the car and gave it to another young man's mom who came to get the other young man's phone. They said, we don't know Nolan's password. How are we getting his phone to delete anything? Now, why is them not coming on TV and saying there was no password or they had to get to his phone?
Let me ask you this question. Based on your investigation, I'm asking you this. I'm thinking any parent that loses their child wants to get to the bottom of it. They don't care if the villain is white, black, or whatever. Their child is dead. They want the culprit. So when you see Al Sharpton eulogizing and announcing that there's a $100,000 reward, when you see that Tyler Perry agreed to pay for the funeral and put up half of the reward, when you see guys like Spike Lee and Terrell Owens in attendance, and Terrell Owens, I think, dedicated $25,000, if I remember correctly, according to the reports that I've read, and Benjamin Crump in attendance, and you're talking about civil rights lawyers being in attendance, like you just pointed out. My question to you, Officer Tatum, and Charles, you can follow up based on the answer that he provides. My question to you is, why do you think the parents decided to go that route, Officer Tatum, based on your investigation in terms of allowing all of those folks to be so intimately involved in this situation? What are your thoughts about that? What comes to your mind, particularly based on your investigation, talking to the actual parties supposedly involved?
There's two thoughts that come to my mind. One is that Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump are manipulating this family's trauma in order for them to make a crap ton of money. That's one. The second one is the parents trying.
No, Nolan Wells' grandfather was on Facebook the day that Nolan Wells' body was found and saying, this is suspicious, it doesn't make sense. The family already has suspicion before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. Nolan Wells' grandfather, and we covered like the Facebook post he made. Nolan Wells' grandfather said, they searched for his body the day before. The day before was the second day because Nolan Wells was dead on the 4th. On the 5th, they searched for the body. On the 6th, they found him. So on the 5th, drones came. They walked the island from sundown to sunset, everywhere, searched every part of the island, and they didn't find the body, even though the high waves and the low waves, right? So the high tides and low tides came and went. They didn't find the body. Then they found the body conveniently in the same spot they already searched. The grandfather said, this is suspicious. I need answers of what happened to my son. So if the family already has suspicion, why are you now blaming Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton for making the family suspicious? No, that was already there.
On this because, and it's the reason why I say this. Why did Nolan Wells' mama say, I don't know these kids? These boys showed me pictures and video and texted them staying over his house, or at least the young boy Tristan, staying over his house multiple times. She went to school with one of the other boys' mama, graduated high school with her. They showed me the yearbook. Why is she saying this?
Yeah, but Warren told you he had never met her. I'm so confused. Warren told you he never met her. Tristan told you he don't know the mom like that. What are you talking about? Bro, your own interview with them would debunk this. They told you to your face, we never met her. What are you talking about?
Why? Al Sharpton don't know this boy. Why is he eulogizing him at his funeral? Ain't never met Nolan a day in his life. Why are they saying we're going to give $100,000 to somebody who gives us information to lead to an arrest? What if Nolan drank?
Wait, pause, bro. Hold on, bro. What's wrong with you? Why is Al Sharpton eulogizing? Maybe because his parents is having a hard time. Maybe because the parents are not ready yet, bro, to come and, listen, bro, if the parents chose Al Sharpton, I'm not even going to try to go to, if the parents chose Al Sharpton, if the parents and the family felt like Al Sharpton would do Nolan Wells justice, what's your issue? What's your problem? Why do you care that Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells? Bro, nobody loved Nolan more than his mama and his father. Nobody loved him more. Nobody on planet Earth. So if these people felt like it was the right decision to have Al Sharpton eulogize Nolan, why do you care? What's your issue? But what's your issue? Even the people who feel like, people is taking this out of proportion, do you think it's okay for Officer Tatum to question why Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells when the parents picked him? You think that's okay? You think that's cool? You think that right there is in good faith? You think that's okay?
Do you, bitch?
You think that's decent for him to question why Al Sharpton is eulogizing Nolan Wells when the parents picked Al Sharpton? Y'all think that's okay? Listen, man, it's one thing if you feel like, he drowned, y'all taking this out of proportion is one thing. It's another, bruh, to question how the parents is dealing with the death of their son. That's disrespectful. That's nasty. That's not okay.
Somebody who gives us information to lead to
that's
arrest.
nasty.
What if Nolan drowned?
He already showed
they don't care about him drowning. But then also, why we don't do this for any other young men who have lost their lives at the hands of other people other than white people? Why
Charles, I'm going to give you the floor, Charles.
What? Back to why? Because again, if a man lost his life to another black man, that black man will be in jail, Tatum. I'm sorry to tell you, bro. I'm sorry to tell
Look at Y&W Melly. Don't he got a second trial he got to do? They won't give him bond. They keep his ass locked up. He been locked up for 8 years. By the time he motherfucking get sentenced, he gonna have time served for that shit. The fuck? They gonna just have to let him out anyway. Imagine him getting found not guilty and then having to sit for 10 fucking years. You sit in jail for 10 years just to be found not guilty. That's some fucked up shit. This is the difference that we speak about all the time. As a nigga, we have to prove that we're innocent. We're never innocent until proven guilty. And that's that fuck shit. I ain't going out like that. They gotta kill me.
I'm sorry to tell you, all right? If Nolan Wells was shot and killed by another black kid, that black kid will be in jail. There would not be a need to pressure white folks to arrest a black kid who committed a crime. I'm sorry, bro. If Nolan Wells was shot and killed by a black kid in the cities of Ocean Springs, there will be no civil rights move. There would not be a need to convince or pressure the white DA or the white sheriffs to arrest that black kid. He'll be in jail that night. Things like this is needed, right? We're trying to convince the sheriffs, the DAs to hold white folks accountable for things they do, especially if it's a white powerful family. That's what it is.
Charles, I'm gonna give you the floor in a second, but Officer Tatum, it's one thing. I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to clarify, because it's one thing to feel what you feel about Benjamin Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, etc. It's another thing entirely to lump the parents who just lost their child.
But I know it's
talking about they're trying to profit.
I know
off
it's
this. You sure you want to say that? That's what I'm sure you want to say that.
Let me be clear about this.
I built this website in 5 minutes with Wix Harmony. So I came across this image recently and thought to myself, what if I built an entire brand around this? And so I opened up Wix.
You asked me what my thoughts were. I didn't say that that was facts.
I know.
So my
I
thoughts
said your thought.
based on a few facts.
Bro, listen, what type of sensible, decent human being is saying that a mother who just lost her son is trying to profit from his death? What? Listen, man. Even if you're somebody, bro, who think, my God, Flacco, I hate you, Flacco. You are a sensitive liberal, even though I've never identified as a liberal in my life, like, right? Oh my God, Flacco, blah, blah. Oh my God, you guys is race hustling. Okay, cool. You think it's appropriate? You think it's decent for a man to come on a national platform and to say the mother who is actively grieving her 18-year-old son who just died, she is grifting, she is for profit?
That's because Officer Tatum does not like Black people. He may have hatred for his own mother. Maybe he was adopted by a white family, a family of police officers, and they raised him up. And this is what he turned out to be. And they pay him good to do this bullshit. He has 4 million subscribers from doing hateful ass fuck shit like this. It's fucked up how many people choose to consume negative bullshit on the internet. I just be doing positive shit, trying to share positive messages and get positive insights on fucked up situations and negative content like this here, but shit, nigga, I can't even get past 3,000 subs. But a negative fuck nigga that do all type of evil fuck shit on the internet, it ain't shit for them to get 4 million. We just gonna create a positive impact today and later regardless, you feel me? I guess it's just gonna take us a little longer.
Y'all think that's a decent thing to do? Bro, y'all have no decorum, bro. Y'all are just absolutely disgusting and sick.
Actors, right?
Okay.
There ain't no reason for Al Sharpton to be doing that boy's eulogy when Al never knew him.
That's not even your call or your business.
But what I'm saying is that if I die, my daddy, if I die,
that's you. Respect the family.
Let him speak.
If I get killed,
that family had a choice.
Why?
Who is that? Why is that? They don't have to answer to you. That's not.
They don't. But I have an opinion.
That's that family.
Okay.
I don't even understand why that family chose to eulogize their fallen son.
What is
any of your business to have any commentary about?
Well, you can't tell me that because
it's not your Tatum. It's not your Tatum. They never asked you for a dime. They never asked you to get involved. They never asked you for anything. You are just a disgusting human crow. Tatum, you are the worst human being I've ever witnessed. Yo, I don't think I've ever seen a worse human being, bro. You are trying to humiliate and ridicule a grieving mother. What? 23 days after her 18-year-old son lost his life? The brother is right. The brother is right. It's not your business or any of the white nationalists or white supremacists who worship you business.
Don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me.
Anyone they wanted to.
It don't seem normal. It don't seem normal to me for a man that don't even preach sermons to do a eulogy for a boy that he didn't know.
Okay, we're going off the rails. We're going off the rails. We're going off the rails because Charles, I know you got to get ready to go. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to give this last question to both of y'all. Officer Tatum, I'm going to give you the word, and then Charles Coleman, I'm going to give you the last word. What are your expectations of what is going to come of this when all is said and done, based on the evidence that we know? Charles, Officer Tatum, I'll go with you first. Charles, I'll give you the last word.
And I'll try to make this succinct. I think we're going to find that the law enforcement agency did a fair investigation, that they did things right all the way through the process, and that none of this will lead to any of what Al Sharpton them said it was and alluded that it was, and they will get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan, and it will be clean, it will be professional, and it will be the same result without the interference with activists and people out here hoodwinking. I think that they're going to find out what happened to Nolan, and it's not going to be Al Sharpton, it's not going to be Benjamin Crump, It's going to be the law enforcement agencies that go out and do this stuff every single day, that does an investigation, that's going to be forensically looked through the cell phone, that's going to interview 60 people and find out what happened to Nolan. And they're going to be able to say, was it somebody that did something nefarious to Nolan? They're going to be prosecuted. If Nolan drowned, they're going to let the family know he drowned. That's going to be the totality of this investigation, which didn't have nothing to do with this race stuff and had nothing to do with activists coming out and making money on the death of another black boy.
Charles, I'll give you the last word because I know you got to go.
Sure. Thank you, Stephen A. I don't necessarily know what will come of the case. I am and continue to be invested in the integrity of the process. Number one, so that it sets a precedent of getting to the facts and having objective information disseminated to the public in a way that's honest, truthful, and transparent. What I will say is that it's disappointing to sit and listen to Brandon talk about the same type of aspersions being cast on Benjamin Crump, on Al Sharpton, in the same way that they are advocating for answers for Nolan Wells, that he has railed against the same type of characterizations going in reverse. A split mirror image of the type of vitriol that you are decrying against the survivors in this instance being spewed at Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. And I don't necessarily think that gets us anywhere, and it's not productive when you're talking about getting to the bottom of this and understanding what actually happened to Nolan Wells. So for me, I hope that the dialogue can be more tempered, where we're not trying to characterize people in either direction, but we're trying to insist on getting to the bottom of things and looking for the facts.
Spirited discussion, that's what it's all about. Two opposite points of view. But
Bro, Tatum should be embarrassed. Bro, Tatum should be embarrassed. Yo, Tatum got cooked in mouth.
I made this animation in about 5 minutes. Toonby. I just type what I want.
He just showed his true color. I mean, well, I guess he been did that, but like I said, I never knew about it, buddy. But it's good to know. It's always good to know who your enemies are. Because all skin folk ain't kin folk. And this is the Lit House, Homemade TV, hustles on a mission every day. Sponsored by dividendsapparel.com. And I am Capital. Whatever you do, make sure you do it capital and create a positive impact today and later. Fuck the motherfucking haters. Get your paper straight like that. And this is and has been another real nigga reaction. And remember, real niggas do what they want to do. Bitch niggas do what they can. Hoe ass niggas gonna talk about it. And fuck niggas gonna hate. Regardless. I promise you that. So just do your shit to the motherfucking fullest, nigga. Catch y'all on the next one.
I'm a hustler on a mission. Grinding for that spot of brand